Good morning everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Cikgu Darrel, and today, like usual, we're going to continue on Starter Unit Lesson 5, which will be on your student's book, page 8. I would like to start my lesson with a question. What are the differences between them? On your left is a Ferrari and on your right is a Mini Cooper. When you try to compare these two cars, what are the words that come to your mind? Or I should ask you a question. Which car is big? Which car is big? Ferrari is big or Mini Cooper is big? Ferrari is big. Which car is fast and which car is slow? Obviously, Ferrari is a sport car and Mini Cooper is not a sport car. So, Ferrari is fast and Mini Cooper is slow. So, these are the words that probably might come across your mind the moment I ask you these questions. And what are these words called? They are adjectives. That is why the objective of the lesson for today is to use basic adjectives to describe things. What are adjectives? Adjectives are words used to describe things and people. Now, before we get into the lesson more thoroughly, I would like you to get to know this vocabulary first as well as the meaning of it, because after this we have some little tasks for you to do while doing the reading. Are you ready? Number 1. Unpopular. Unpopular. It means tidak terkenal. Tidak terkenal. Bad. Bad. It means teruk. Teruk. Horrible. Horrible. It means mengerikan. Mengerikan. New. New. It means baru. Baru. Cheap. Cheap. It means murah. Murah. Boring. Boring. It means bosan. Bosan. Fast. Fast. It means laju. Laju. Okay, that's all the vocabulary that we have to get to know first before we proceed to the next activity. Make sure you know the meaning for each word that we went through just now. Okay, now we are going to read and match the opposite meanings. How are we going to match the opposite meanings? Do you realize that in the text itself, there are a few words in blue color? These words in blue color, you have to match to the opposite meaning, which are the words that we went through just now. Do you get what I mean? If you do, let's start to read first the text. Send us your photos. What have you got in your pocket? This little boy, his name is Paul. Now, what has Paul got in his pocket? I've got money, a pen, my ID card for school. That photo isn't very nice. And my mobile phone. It's old and slow now and it hasn't got a good camera. I want a new mobile, but they're expensive. What has Ben got on his desk? I've got books, 1 or 2 old video games, and these mini speakers. They're small, but they're really good. And I've got a photo of my cousins in Australia. They've got a pet parrot. His name's Sinbad, and he's really popular with my cousin's friends. We haven't got a pet, Next, what has Maria got in her bag? I've got my books for school, my mobile, and I've got this present for my dad. He hasn't got this book. It's about cooking and it's very interesting if you like cooking. Okay, are you ready to match the opposite meanings? Let's cross-check the answer together. What is the opposite meaning of nice? It's horrible. All, the opposite meaning for all, new, slow, fast, good, bad, expensive, cheap, small, big, popular, unpopular, interesting, boring. Did you manage to guess it all correct? If yes, can you please write down at the comment section below and say, Cikgu, I got all the words matched correctly. Apart from that, do you know that we can also describe the adjectives using adverbs of degree? Examples of adverbs of degree here for this lesson today are not very, quite, very, and really. Why do we need to use adverbs of degree? Just for example, let's look at this arrow. For number 1, it means that the adverbs of degree is really weak. And as it increases until number 4, means that number 4 is the strongest adverbs of degree. Let's look at number 1. Let's say the adjective is expensive. Which adverbs of degree should be at number 1? Not very. So if you look at the picture here, it's Nokia 3310. It's a black and white screen on the phone. So definitely at this century, Nokia 3310 is considered very cheap. So in other words, using adverbs of degree, we would say it's not very expensive. Not very expensive. Next, quite expensive. Quite expensive is slightly stronger than not very expensive. Let's say Nokia 3310 is 100 ringgit. So BlackBerry could be 1000 ringgit. So it's quite expensive, and slightly stronger than quite is very expensive. This is Vivo X10. So to buy a Vivo, it needs at least 1500 and above. So obviously it's very expensive if compared to BlackBerry and also Nokia 3310. And you try to guess what is the most expensive phone here, which is really expensive. It's iPhone 12. So can you see how strong are the adverbs of degree from number 1 until number 4? Which means here, not very is the weakest adverbs of degree among these 4, followed by quite, very, and really is the strongest adverbs of degree. Adverbs of degree is used to show the intensity of that particular adjective. Yes, we know that a phone is expensive, but how expensive? To describe how expensive it is, that is the role of adverbs of degree. To describe how strong is the degree of the expensiveness of that phone. Let's look at the sample sentences using adverbs of degree. We use the previous samples for example. Nokia 3310 is not very expensive. BlackBerry 10 is quite expensive. Vivo X is very expensive. iPhone 12 is really expensive. When we say something is really expensive, not everyone can afford it. Vivo X is very expensive. When something is very expensive, it means that still a lot of people can afford it, but they will have to think twice before they buy because it's very expensive. So that's the end of our lesson today. Here is the homework that I provided for you for this lesson. As usual, if you are on multiple devices, you can just feel free to scan on the QR code right in front of your screen to do the exercise on the Google form directly. And if you're on a single device, no worries, just go to the video description and click on the link that I have provided below so that you can do straight away as well. And if you're a teacher, I have also provided a copy for you so that you will just have to click on the link if you're using a single device and make a copy straight away for your students to do it. And if you're on multiple devices, just scan the QR code right in front of your screen and directly make a copy for your students. And as usual, if you have any questions, just feel free to post your questions at the comment section below and I will try to revert to you as soon as possible. Don't forget to visit my Facebook page, Cikgu Darrel, and like my page as well. Besides that, also go to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell right beside the subscribe button so that you will always get notified the moment I uploaded a new video. With that, I would like to thank you for watching and I will see you at the next video.